Hello, guys and gals, and welcome to another episode of Unique Items. So, I got a couple items prepared today that I wanted to go over, specifically ones that I had left out, which I kind of felt like would be good ones to go over well, to fill in the gaps. One that I never went over for some reason was the Blade of Alibaba, which is, of course, a very, very important unique for magic finding as well as gold finding. Now, for the purposes of this video, I'm actually going to be transferring this item over to a higher level character, but as you can see, it has a based on character level effect, which you can see is only 1% magic find at level 1 and 2% magic find at level 1. Sorry, 2% gold find at magic 1. Yeah. Do you know what? Tongue twisters today. That's what I hear. Tongue twistery, tongue twistos from tongue twisting. So what we're going to be doing is I'm going to, number one, we're going to upgrade these. Number two, we're going to take a look and see what kind of usefulness they have. And number three, we're going to look at the different sides of the coin, so to speak. So let's take these over to a character that can actually put them on, and we'll also upgrade them, and we'll play around with them, shall we? So let me go to my Immortal King Barbarian, because why not? Because Barbarians are actually one of the main classes that really love to use these. Granted, everybody loves to use Blade of Alibabas, but the Barbarian is the only one that can use two. Let's keep that in mind. So on the Barbarian, he can equip them without an issue because the stat requirements aren't really that high at 32 Dex and 60 Strength. And you'll notice the damage isn't really bad at 52 to 114 in the ethereal version and 35 to 77 on the non-ethereal version. The main issues with the Blade of Alibaba, unfortunately, is because of the type of weapon that it is. It's a very slow weapon. It is a slow attack speed weapon. But most people don't actually use this for the damage. But, we're going to go over the damage anyway, just in case. So as you can see, it's 35 to 77, 42 dexterity, 70 strength, level 35, so relatively low level. Slow attack speed, so it's going to be very slow. Has no increased attack speed on it. It does have 120% enhanced damage, but this does vary by quite a bit. So it can be as low as 60% ED and as high as 120. So if you actually want to beat something with this, you might look for a higher percentage eventually. They're not particularly rare, and we'll go over the drop chance on these at the end of the video. We have plus 15 dexterity, which is, of course, very nice for block chance and things like that. However, you actually do need a pretty decent amount of dex to put it on. So like on a sorceress or something like that, where you might not necessarily invest dex, you actually do need to put some points into dex, and obviously the dex that's on it doesn't help you wield it. We also have plus 15 to mana, which of course comes in handy for those caster classes that are using this for magic finding. And as you can see, the extra gold for monsters goes up considerably on a higher level character. This one in particular, of course, is a level 99 barbarian. So that means we have the full effect, which is 247%. It does, of course, vary 2.5 per character level on the gold find. The magic find varies by 1% per level. So as you can see, it's 99% at level 99. It also comes with 2 sockets, and this is where the magic starts to occur. Because one thing you can do with these is you can fill them with lem runes. So lem runes are 75% extra gold for monsters, and as you can imagine, if you put in 2 lem runes in here, you would get an additional 150% extra gold for monsters, which would bring you up to a massive amount of extra gold for monsters of 247 to 397. So 397%, roughly almost 400%, very, very close to 400% extra gold for monsters. Now, if you can imagine, you'd put 2 of these on, you could have 1 in each hand on a barbarian, and that would be an almost 800% extra gold for monsters, combined with whatever other pieces of equipment that you could put on, like chance cards, gold wrap, maybe a gold skin, which is a pretty good choice because it does have all resistances. There's a lot of different choices that you could make in the extra gold for monsters realm. The other way that you could go with this is, of course, you could put in 2 ist runes. Now, ist runes are a little bit hard to come by, but I do feel like a lot of people are very, very confident this is a good choice because obviously, as you can see, they do 30% better chance of magic items per Istrune in weapons, only in weapons, by the way, and is 2 sockets. So of course we've got 99% magic find, and you put 2 Istrunes in here, and that brings you up to a very nice 99% plus 60, which is basically what, 159%. My quick math is always terrible. I hope I nailed that right on the head. And of course, you have some pretty nice effects here. You can put this obviously on pretty much any character to get a relatively high amount of magic find, and of course, you could swap back to your main weapon whenever you need to. As a barbarian, of course, you can have both of these on, and you could be getting the gold find and the magic find together. Whether you're double lem runing the Blade of Alibabas, or whether you're double isting Blade of Alibabas, whatever it may be, they can definitely come in handy. Now, the other thing about Blade of Alibabas is they are only exceptional level items. So if you did want to actually try and kill things with them, maybe on your barbarian while you're horking, it could potentially be a good idea to upgrade them. Now, I'm not going to say upgrade them because it is going to increase the stat requirements by quite a bit. And of course, if you are a character that does not have the stat requirements, it's going to be a bad idea. But we're going to do it anyway because, reasons. So you're going to need a Pull, a Lum Rune, and a Perfect Emerald to upgrade these. And you're going to need probably a lot higher stats. And we're going to find that out in just a second when we upgrade it here. Could have sworn I had another Lame Rune. I don't have another Lame Rune. What? Freaking hacks. Oh, there we go. Okay, never mind. I was about to be upset. So let's do the Blade of Alibaba Tulwar first, and of course this is going to upgrade to the I believe it's the Hydra Edge, and let's see what happens, shall we? So we got the Pull Rune, the Lum Rune, and the Perfect Emerald, and it's going to upgrade from the Tulwar 35 to 77, 42 Dexterity, 70 Strength, and of course it was level 35 before we put the runes in it, but it did go up when we put the runes in it, obviously. To the Blade of Alibaba Hydra Edge, 61 to 149, still not very good for a end game level weapon. 105 Dexterity, which is really high. 142 Strength, which is not bad. Most characters will have usually 142 Strength without issue, especially since you have to have 156 Strength for the Monarch Shield if you're a any kind of sorceress or anything like that that's using a Spirit Monarch. The 105 Dexterity there, I think, is the real downside. But keep in mind that if you are going to be upgrading a Blade of Alibaba, you're probably actually going to use it for damage, because there is no reason to upgrade a Blade of Alibaba unless you're going to be using it for damage. So if a person did decide to upgrade this, they're probably going to have the Dexterity requirement. We also have the ethereal version, which would require a Zod rune, which is pretty hilarious. Or maybe put it on a mercenary, one of the new frenzy mercs. That could be kind of funny, just like a magic find frenzy merc. That could be interesting, actually. Now that I think about it, have like a dual Blade of Alibaba frenzy merc running like steel skull cask and maybe some kind of magic find armor. I'm not sure what you'd put on him. Something that wouldn't get him killed. But, I don't know, maybe like Chains of Honor. Doesn't Chains of Honor have a little bit of magic find on it? And then you'd have a pretty high amount of magic find from the 4-piece set. Could be interesting to see how well he does. Anyway, let's upgrade this one too. So we're going to need another Emerald. And this one goes from the 52 to 114. 32 strength, 32 dexterity, 60 strength, level 43, slow attack speed, to the 92 to 224 damage, not bad, 95 dexterity, 132 strength, level 58. Now, it's interesting to note that the attack speed did increase when you upgraded it. So this is probably one of the best reasons to upgrade the Blade of Alibaba if you were actually going to try and use it as a weapon. Slow attack speed is the normal attack speed for a freaking Tulwar, but when you upgrade to the Hydra Edge, it actually does increase the speed a little bit, so you end up with a slightly faster item. And this is something that I think is one of the main reasons why, if you were actually going to use it to bonk things, you probably would want to upgrade it, just specifically for the fact that it does actually increase the speed of the item. And let me just verify really quickly online, because I always want to make sure, because some websites don't report the right information and other websites do. Let's see here. I'm going to go to Diablo2.io. Diablo2.io always gives me good information. So the Hydra Edge is, yes, normal attack speed for all classes, except for Assassin and Paladin, which is fast attack speed. So the Hydra Edge is definitely a heck of a lot faster than the Tulwar, and the Tulwar is a speed of slow for all classes except for Assassin and Paladin, and Assassin and Paladin have a normal attack speed. So definitely a marked increase in both the damage as well as the speed of the weapon, which I think is more important than the damage. If you were actually going to use this, say like on a magic finding paladin or something, which I could totally see being a possibility, like for instance, maybe you are a Holy Shock, Holy Freeze, or Holy Fire Paladin that doesn't necessarily need physical damage on a weapon, and you just kind of wanted to have a magic finding paladin, you could totally upgrade this to a Hydra Edge, perhaps throw like one shale in it or something to make it a little bit faster, or just double ist it or whatever it is that you want to do with it. But it would definitely be a lot easier to beat things up with if you were obviously having a faster weapon base. The base speed of the Tulwar is 20, by the way, and the base speed of the Hydra Edge is 10, so definitely a faster weapon. Now, I definitely would not recommend doing this, though, if you plan on using it on any character that doesn't want to have a high amount of dexterity. So keep in mind, if you're a sorceress, if you're a necromancer, if you're someone who generally just doesn't have a lot of dexterity, obviously a very bad idea to upgrade the Blade of Alibaba, and you don't even really want to in most situations. Now, I think the other thing that we need to talk about with the Blade of Alibaba is where do you find it? So let's go to Silo's Pen, which is a place where I love to go to check out the drop chance calculations for specific items. And we're going to have a look and see where specifically we could potentially find this particular item. So here we are over on Silo's Pen, and we're going to do players 1, we're going to do party size of 1, and I'm going to do a very modicum of magic find of 100%, because if we don't have a Blade of Alibaba, there's a very good chance we don't have very good magic find to begin with. We're going to choose unique item here, and then we're going to go to the Blade of Alibaba. We're going to sort by probability, and we're going to look at bosses first. All right, so looking at bosses first and ignoring the quest flags because only Andy has a permanent quest flag. So right there, it looks like Nightmare and Dorial at 1 in 765 chance is actually our best bet. That is actually a really easy farm for characters that have teleport. You can usually do that relatively easily for pretty much nothing. Nightmare difficulty becomes a breeze once you have gotten into hell difficulty, and quite honestly, you can pretty much just walk through Nightmare and Darial's zone. It looks like the second best is Nightmare Mephisto, which you may be farming anyway for specific items, and Nightmare Diablo and Bale have pretty good chances as well. Also, Hell and Darial also has a pretty good chance. So interesting, as well as Hell Mephisto. So honestly, all of the act bosses have a pretty good chance to drop you a Blade of Alibaba Tulwar. Let's take a look at the super uniques real quick, and let's see who has the best chance for the super uniques. So it does look like the Cow King, both Nightmare and Hell difficulty, have a pretty good chance to drop this item, and the probability kind of jumps up pretty high with Nightmare Neolithak and Nightmare Summoner. We also have Nightmare Radamant, which is not an easy farm, and Hell difficulty Neolithak is 1 in 7,829. Now, as far as ease of access, Neolithak is not really the greatest, although I do have a video, if you guys are interested, that goes over exactly how you find Neolithak, so you can find him easily enough, but killing him is a whole other matter because he loves to spam corpse explosions, so keep that in mind. We also have the Summoner, not easy to find. Radament's not easy to find. The Countess, you may be farming her in Hell difficulty anyway, specifically so that you can get yourself, runes. Here's an easy one, though. Look at this. Bone Ash in Nightmare difficulty. He is always in the Cathedral. Very, very easy to find. In Nightmare difficulty, you should literally be able to walk in there and kill most of those guys with no problem. Beetle Burst is always in Far Oasis. He's actually pretty easy to find. And I'm not seeing a lot of like really, really good choices here. Eldritch the Rectifier is like basically 1 in 10,000 almost. And Shank the Overseer is like 1 in 10,000. But these are Nightmare. So Nightmare Eldritch and Nightmare Shank and Nightmare Doc Farron. I mean, it seems to me like a lot of the higher probability chances for this particular item are in Nightmare difficulty. So it definitely seems like you could run a couple monsters really quickly. Like, for instance, you could do Bone Ash. I probably wouldn't do Radament or the Summoner. I probably wouldn't do Neolithak either because the corpse explosions are a pain in the butt. But you could very easily do Bone Ash, Eldritch the Rectifier, Shank the Overseer, Doc Farron, and Pindleskin, all in Nightmare difficulty relatively easily, with really no big issue. I definitely could see that would be easy. Although it does look like doing the Cow King over and over again might be a good bet as well. Nightmare and Hell Cow Kings both have pretty good drop chances there. Either way, usually you love to get your hands on a Blade of Alibaba, so hope you guys end up finding one. I do feel like there's a lot of good options here for farming the Blade of Alibaba, whether you're doing Nightmare Andy or, whether you're doing Bone Ash or the Eldritch Shank convention, whatever it may be. There's definitely a lot of good choices here. As you can see, though, Nightmare Andy has a pretty good probability of 1 in 765. And Nightmare Andy also has a pretty good chance to drop a Soj as well. So, Anyway, as always, I do appreciate you guys and gals watching my videos, even when it is about a weird sword that has lots of magic find and gold find on it, and you hold it in your hand and you feel the power of Grayskull. I'm just kidding. As always, thanks for watching, and keep watching.